Okay, so welcome to the second video of this Warhammer Online game/community discussion video. And over the course of these videos I'm going to be talking about topics such as this in the video, and also topics I've talked about before, and general news within the game community and the game itself. So, I'm going to focus this video on one topic in particular, and that's fortresses. Now, for those of you who played Warhammer Online quite early on, you'll know that fortresses were a main feature in the game, and fortresses allowed the player to, once they had locked down a zone, such as say they locked down Black Crag, Thunder Mountain and Cadron Valley, before they could go on to making that zone count towards a city siege, they'd have to go onto that fortress. And if you haven't played it before, you can imagine a fortress is basically a giant keep siege, okay? Now, the thing about fortresses, they were a massive lag fest, and because of this, most people were crashing, they had really bad FPS, and it was impossible to fight, and they were taken out quite early on in the game. I only ever got to play like 2 before they got taken out. But the idea behind them, the actual concept of fortresses, is just so epic, and it fits in so well with the storyline, and it really adds that feel to epic scales in Warhammer Online PvP. And I think it is definitely needed if this game is going to survive, and if this game is going to need to develop further. So with fortresses, they are rumoured to be coming back. Now, well, not rumoured, they are going to be coming back. In version, let's have a look, in version 1.4.5, Mythic said that they want to implement fort features again. Now, note that fort features. So this means that, okay, they're probably looking at the best features they've got with forts last time and implementing them again. They're not just going to say, right, let's get a fortress feature that we had before, let's just put it back in. Because that would be stupid, because that was the reason they took it out, was because it was a massive lag fest and people were crashing all the time, and it just wasn't ideal. So, they're going to need to do something with fortresses, I think, to make them playable as such. And here's how one way they could do it, and that is, look what they did with the city sieges. They made it an instance feature. They made it so that it's like a giant 24v24 scenario. They could do a similar thing with fortresses, but I think they could afford to have more I think the thing is, though, if they have more players than cities, well, then if these fortresses are going to feel more epic than the city siege, and the city siege really is meant to be like the final push towards victory, not fortresses. Fortresses is like the mini final push before victory. The fortresses is the final push before capturing your enemy city and going in and killing everything that survives. So I think making it bigger and more epic than cities would be a bad idea. So I think one thing they could do for fortresses is this: make it at least, and I say at least, 24v24. I think they could make it more, maybe 36v36, and then make the city sieges 42v42. Now, obviously, they'd have to test lag and everything with this. I mean, for a lot of people, I think it's going to be okay, especially if you play on low graphics and you got a decent-ish internet, you're going to be okay with this. I mean, I've never had lag in city sieges because there's nowhere near as many players as there is in the open RVR field. So, if they can manage it in the player lakes, then they can manage it in cities and fortresses. So that's one idea I had, making it an instance feature. Now, I think one disadvantage to making this would, again, take away the feel of open RVR. When you think of instances, that's not open RVR at all. That's instanced RVR. That's like going into scenarios, like going into battlegrounds in WoW, or battlegrounds in, or whatever they're called, in Rift and whatever. It's not the same as just walking into Lake and going straight in without having to wait on loading screens and sorting out groups and stuff. You can just go in and fight. And I think this was one of the best features about Fortress. Again, it just added to the whole realism feel and the whole epic feel to Warhammer Online, that it is a massive open PvP game, and the PvP is epic, and you walk in and kill anything you want and just go crazy. So I actually hope they don't make an instance feature. That was just one idea that could work, but it wouldn't make fortresses as good as they were. And I want them to be, and when I say I want them to be good as they were, I don't want them to have lag like they were last time, but I want them to be on that scale as they were last time. Now, there are still ways that could get around this. For example, again, making instance features, but making multiple instance features with, like, they're all in the same campaign. So for example, if some groups win a city, some groups lose a city at the same time, that's multiple city sieges going on at the same time. What I mean is having many different instances, but they all count towards the overall fortress take. So say if there were 4 instances running at the time, and destruction run 1-3 and order 1-1, destruction could win, and then they could take over that fortress and then make that push to capture that fortress. Again, they could do something like that, because that wouldn't be too bad, because people aren't winning and losing it. Again, I want fortresses, when they come back, to count for something. I want them to be noticeable, to be a major part within the Warhammer Online, because the only endgame content that is really is the Inevitable City and Vulture Lord. There isn't anything else. Fortresses is almost like an endgame content as well, because you don't get them in tier 3 and beyond. Tier 3 and below, sorry. So I think fortresses is a very interesting idea, and I do hope, well, they will be bringing it back, because they have said they're doing. It's one of the most requested features that they want to bring back, but they are going to have to solve the lag issue. So that there were 2 ideas I had on fortresses. Now I want to hear your ideas. So post a comment down below. What would you like to see when fortresses come back, and how would you like to see them had? And don't say just back in the game, because that was a major lag fest, and 95% of players couldn't play it at all. So yeah, make it reasonable. But the other thing I wanted to talk about with fortresses is what you do in them. Now, fortresses, I believe, are just like keeps. It was a long time I played them, so I can't remember how you actually exactly took over a fortress. And I never actually took over one when I played it. Like I say, I only played 2, and we never actually won either of them. So I want to talk about how you're going to win these new ones. So they could do how you do keeps, where once you're into a certain area, you can take the flag or whatever like that. First, you have to interact with it for at least 30 seconds or a minute or whatever to capture it. But that would make it too much like keeps, and I think, well, that's just too much copy and pasting going on here. They need something new and fresh still to make these forts really stand out from everything else in the game, including city sieges. So again, I think they could do a similar sort of thing to city sieges, where you've got to protect like these sapling things, and have certain areas, because fortresses are a quite big area. If you've never been to a fortress, go to one of those zones, like if you go to Black Crag and go to the zone next to it, not Thunder Mountain, but the one before the main city. Go to that area, and you'll see what I mean about fortresses. They are a large place. They are a massive keep, essentially. It's like a proper sized keep, if you know what I mean. So there is plenty of space to have like important areas within this keep zone that you have to protect for a certain amount of time to lock it down or whatever. I mean, they could even do like scenarios within a fortress. So you go into a fortress, you've got to protect a BO for 10 minutes, and whilst doing this, you get extra points by going into scenario and winning a scenario based in that area. I mean, they were saying they were thinking about bringing scenarios back based on old areas. So that could be a nice feature. Or they could just make it like the cities. You've got BOs within the area. You've got to protect the saplings whilst they come and destroy the things, maybe. But again, like I said a few minutes ago, that's too much like old stuff, and I want fortresses to really stand out and be a unique thing within the game. So although that would work, I don't want it, because it's just going to be the same as going to a city, and then once people have done a fortress, they're going to be like, oh, I can't be asked to go to a city. And that's another thing. Fortresses don't need to be too long either. That's what she said. Although it would be more realistic, more epic, I think for people like me, if I was doing a fortress that lasted a few hours, I wouldn't want to be bothered to go onto the city. And I think if they need to be careful, otherwise fortresses are going to kill cities, basically. So they need to be careful of that. But yeah, I hope they bring back all the same fortresses as they did last time. Maybe even some new ones, I don't know. And I hope they are going to be epic, and I hope the lag isn't going to be there. I'm really looking forward to this. And if you want to read, well, they haven't released anything about it, but if you want to read version 1.4.4 and 1.4.5 patch notes, general bullet pointed notes, There'll be a link in the description to that, and also on this page you'll find the full transcript that I read out in the last video. Well, I didn't read that, but I pointed out some stuff in the last video. So there's my opinion on fortresses. I really encourage you to post your own opinions, and I really want to hear on what you think fortresses will be like, how you'd like to see them back in the game, how you'd like to see them contribute to the campaign, and yeah, because I'm so excited for this. I'm really looking forward to this. This is what Warhammer needs back. We need fortresses, because that was one of the main unique things about Warhammer Online. So there you go, post your comments, and next video I'm going to be talking about class balances, and I think this could stir up quite a little riot. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you do, please rate it, and just to show your support and show that you like these videos. And until the next episode, I'll see you later.